Greetings, thanks for joining me. Welcome to Alaska and Archangel Valley. We are in some beautiful country. There's really not words for it. The reason I'm out here, Austin reached out to me last night. Hold on, let me get this window up. Guy named Austin lives in Anchorage. He was out here into June, just less than 2 weeks ago, roughly, and him and his friends were doing a little camping thing. Nothing major. They weren't into partying, so instead of hanging out with all their friends that do party it up and do stupid shit, they came out here just to have some wholesome time, just, you know, hike around, do some sightseeing. And it was Austin's first time coming out to Archangel Valley here, and gosh, it's just, man, the natural beauty. I'll get a panoramic when I get out of the rig here. Just kind of filling you guys in before I get there, because it's raining and I got to put on my raincoat. But anyway, so what he walked me through was pretty scary stuff. So they came back in here, get away from their friends that party a lot, because they weren't, you know, just wasn't into it. And it was him, Austin, his buddy Michael, and their friend Jerry. Michael and Jerry are not the real names. Austin is his real name, that shared with us. The other two, he attempted to call them before we came up here for him to show me, and they had nothing to add other than all they did was hear stuff. So we'll just leave it at that for them. And I understand, you know, not everyone wants to be labeled as someone who saw Bigfoot, because, oh geez, you know, the ridicule and the mockery, which is absurd in my eyes, but it is what it is. So I just appreciate Austin going through the effort. He came out here, called me last night, kind of gave me a rundown, and I asked him, well, hey, you know, could you show me on Google Maps or whatever? And he said, you know what, if I don't work until the afternoon, if you're willing to get up and meet me up there, I will show you right where everything happened. And I said, bet. So I got up and came out, and he walked me through it. This place is popular with, you know, campers and stuff. You can see the valley over there. That's Gold Mint Trail back over there. There's an encounter over there. This area has a history of encounters, multiples, from rocks being thrown at kids down at the beaver pond swimming, to the guy with his son back over here, basically had it run across the trail. Actually very similar to what I'm going to share with you here in a minute. The big difference is these three young guys were pretty heavily armed. They were just in their early 20s, just making money for the first time and buying boy toys, you know, buying those AR platforms and, you know, assault shotguns, and, you know, all that kind of happy stuff all us guys love. And gosh, it's just so damn beautiful in here. We have some clouds that are basically settling on top of us up here. We call it being socked in. We're getting up to the area, so give me just a few minutes here, and I'll have my raincoat on, and we'll go through this and hear what Austin dealt with. All right. So he had his Ford F-150 backed in right here. Now, him and his friends were just hanging out. They hiked back up here. They were doing some shooting back up and through here, and you gotta understand that brush is 3 to 4 foot high. This was a little less than a couple weeks ago. So they got done shooting and they came down. They ate, and it was about 2:30 in the morning. Land of the midnight sun. You got to understand, it gets a little darker than this at that time, but in the shadows in the trees and stuff, it gets pretty dark. So Austin, Michael, and Jerry, they're all walking along, being guys, just laughing it up, making jokes about each other. You know, guys get pretty brutal when they're picking on each other. Hold on, let me clean this room. There you go, wipe you off a little bit. So they're walking along, just doing young guy stuff, talking junk, you know, making fun of each other's girlfriends or whatever. And as they're going along, right over here, they start hearing movement, and immediately bear comes into mind, because we're in the wilds of Alaska. There's reports of black bears and some brown bear cubs around. Gosh, just beautiful back in here. So this thrashing is going on over here, and so I mean, they're armed and they're young, and they weren't really overly concerned. Hold on, damn. Let me put a little visor over the lens. Anyway, so when I get to this point here at this rock, as they're walking along, one of the group, Jerry, stops and decides to jump over here and clamber up onto this rock. Too wet, I'm not going to do it. But when he gets on top of that rock, he immediately turns around and skedaddles down. Kind of hurt his ankle getting back up on the road. They're laughing at him, and he's panting and freaking out, and he pulls him away from the rock right about here, and he's like, it's over there, it's over there. Now Austin asks him, what is over there? You know, is it a bear? And they're laughing. They're like, we have guns, let's see if we can get a, you know, we'll go get my camera and we'll get a picture of this bear. His buddy Jerry was like, no bear, it's not a bear, it's big, it's black, way too big to be a black bear. So now they're three young guys are kind of like, come on dude, we're not falling for it. And his buddy is pale, so they start taking him serious, because he starts to have tears run down his eye. Now this young man is armed. He had an AR platform rifle and one of those C-mags with a 100-round drum. Just like I said, young guys, you know. Well, as they're standing here debating what they're gonna do, they hear the thrashing going on back behind this rock. So they decide, okay, well, let's see if it follows us, and they continue walking. And his friend Jerry, Austin's friend Jerry, wants no part of it, but he comes because he doesn't want to be alone. And so Jerry gets in front of the two and is walking a little faster, and his head's on a swivel, like big time. They know there's other campers further up here, and so he said they got about 60 feet or so from the rock, and they stopped to listen because this thing was thrashing through here. And as it got to about here, Jerry couldn't take it, and he fires some shots up onto the mountainside over here. Just boom, 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 boom. Just rapid succession of shots. And the thrashing stops, and they hear it tear off back that way. So they're assuming it was about 40 feet past the rock, this thing crossed the road. He said it was on all fours, and they thought it was, excuse me, they thought it was the biggest bear they ever seen, because again, land of the midnight sun, it wasn't totally dark, but it was silhouetted heavily, so it looked odd, but you know, it was moving so fast. So they start coming back because they want to get to the camera and get a picture of this bear, because no one's gonna believe them. Well, once they get right about back over to where this rock is, they can see the black thing moving over in the brush. Now there's a creek right down over here running through. Can't really see it from this vantage point, but it's just right over here. Oh, there's part of it right over there. So they get to just past the rock here, and they're watching this thing move, and it's moving relatively quickly right up through this slide, not slide, but this greenery here, all these shrubs, and it gets right over towards the edge of this little batch of trees that comes down right here. Now they're standing here watching it, and they can't make it out because again, it's silhouetted. It was down on all fours, and they watched it go through the brush, and as it came out this side of the brush, just on the lower side, it stood up. And once it stood up, immediately Jerry takes off running to where their campsite was. Now Michael and Austin are just like shocked, like, holy crap. Dang it. Water drops. And so they can't believe their eyes. They're staring at it, and Michael's like, you know, let's not shoot at that. And you know, Austin was like, that isn't even an option, let's just get back to camp. Jerry had already made it to camp, and they heard the door shut on his F-150. So they decide, okay, we're gonna get out of here. You know, that's obviously something that we can't handle. And you know, Bigfoot came into the conversation a little bit later. They both knew what they saw, bipedal, standing up, and he said it was kind of, they couldn't make out if it was swaying or not, but it was doing some kind of movement, and then it started walking back up this way. And he said they kind of stopped right up here and kind of watched it go up into these shrubs up here, these alders and willows and stuff, and then kind of drop back down into there to where they couldn't see it. So as they're observing it doing that, all of a sudden little rocks start coming from this side of the road. Now he said the rocks were very accurate in how they were being thrown, because they both got hit center of the back. And so him and Michael decide, you know, screw this noise, something's throwing rocks at us, that thing's big, it just came from over there, so it's got to be something like that. So they're really freaked out, and they're trying their damnedest to get a look. And meanwhile, when they get to about right here, the horn starts honking on his Ford, and Jerry's in there, bah, 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 bah. He's got the headlights on, he's honking like hell on that horn. And they're like, hey, we can't hear, we can't. And of course, too far of a distance for him to make out what they're yelling at him. So they're on point, they got their guns, they're pointing over this way, they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. They hear a bellowing holler from the one that went up into the brush over here. Once they're coming down, they heard thrashing around and stuff. So they got their guns pointing in the direction. They're paranoid as hell. They're moving about at the pace I am now, not walking slow, but kind of a little faster walk. When they got over by his Ford, where my Tahoe's parked, and the Ford was backed in here, and it was basically facing this direction. Now Jerry, the reason he started honking, turn on the lights and stuff, is he said a figure stood up in between these two shrubs here and was so wide it almost filled that whole gap there. And they guesstimated it'd have to be at least 10 foot tall. It was drier when they went back in there to try to get size reference and stuff. You couldn't see a person standing there because they were trying to see how tall one of them would be back over there, and you couldn't even see their head. So this thing was pretty damn big. He saw, he said mid chest up, shoulders and whatnot, and it was dark, it was silhouetted. As they're focused on this back here, because of these trees and stuff, you can't really see the shrub line very well that it disappeared into right back over here. They heard another bellowing, and he said it wasn't a full-on scream. Hold on, I'm gonna jump in the rig. It's starting to pour, and I'm tired of wiping this damn camera off. Give me a second here. Let me get this wet ass coat off before I get on my seat. Oh, goodness gracious. Dang rain. So the bellowing happens, and they have no idea what in hell to do. Let me get this heat going a little bit here. Forgive me, it's pouring rain here. So when they get their wits about them, because this thing was standing over here, if you can imagine just being freaked out, looking between the gap in those brush there, right there, and seeing this thing massive, but black in silhouette. So Austin tells Michael, hey, let's calm Jerry down and let's get out of here. So they get him, because he locked the doors. They had to get him to unlock the door. I'm not trying to laugh at Jerry, it just, he was locked the doors. They got him to calm down and unlock the doors. And hold on, it's a little muggy in here. Once he unlocked the doors, they jumped in, and they had basically been camping in the camper of his F-150. He had a canopy on the back. And so they had the tailgate open at that time, and Austin knew he had to close that stuff up and put the little bit of items they had out back in the tailgate and shut it. So as he's doing that, the movement back over here, the thing had dropped out of sight after a couple moments with the headlights on, and they saw it and stuff, and they were basically freaking out. Well, this thing dropped down, and it went from where it dropped down over here, and they heard it thrash through these brush over here. Hold on, let me clean it. Through the brush over here, and just almost at the rock over there, they saw it cross on 2 feet. And they said it was the most massive thing they had seen. Again, it was twilight, not dark. I mean, maybe a little darker than it is now, but all the shrubs and brush were really dark shadowed. So they watched it cross there, and basically listened to it as it went across and basically joined up with the other one back over behind these shrubs here. Again, he said the low bellowing kind of roarish growl, he was having a hard time putting it into words. I want to thank him for coming out here. Initially, he didn't want to be on camera. He just wanted to share the experience, but it was very evident that being here was really triggering his emotions, because he welled up a couple times. So anyway, I appreciate him coming. Yeah, that's all I was getting at. And so they listened to the bellowing a little longer, and they decide, all right, they're out of here. So they dipped out. He said he came back 3 days later with a couple of his work buddies, and they attempted to look for any kind of sign of what had happened. Like this happened just less than 2 weeks ago. And so anyone who comes out here in Archangel Valley to camp, be aware. It's random in nature. I'm not saying these things happen every single day. They're behind every piece of bush. It's not like that. But when it happens, it's very traumatic for the people that experience it. Again, I'm going to thank him for going. He came in from Anchorage this morning, very early. It's not even 10 o'clock here now, and we've already met up here, and he walked me through, and that took time and stuff. So I mean, we started this before I started filming, at like 6 a.m. this morning. So I want to thank him for that effort. It means a lot just to share these experiences. And I was in the middle of editing Killer in the Valley, or the title's gonna be something along those lines, about the Copper River Valley and the lineage going on from the Otna natives through regular old local Alaskans and stuff. And some interesting stuff happened on that, because me and Squatchbait witnessed some orbs along with Miss Carol. And in that video, I'll share with you what Wyatt saw on the same property. Just high strangeness for sure in the Copper River Valley. Long lineage of crazy stuff. But again, I'm rambling. Austin, thanks, man, for coming out and all that. I appreciate it. And what else was there? Oh, Sully Outcast. I did a podcast with him a little while back. I believe it's up. I will get the link in the description, hopefully. If not, I will figure it out and type it in, tap by tap or whatever. But there's a link to that as well. And check out the website. It's an interactive map of experiences. And subarcticalaskasasquatch.com is the website, for those who don't know. It'll be on the thumbnail pic too, I'm sure. but it is still snow on the ground, and it's July 5th or 6th, one of the two. Anyway, happy belated 4th, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.